Last year around this time, I was mentally incapable of studying 9 languages at the same time. I was frustrated, anxious, and almost depressed, and I decided to stop learning 9 languages. Hello friends, and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Mahya, I'm from Iran, and I can speak in 8 languages, and on my social media platforms, I share everything about language and language learning. Today's video is quite different from what I usually share on my account. I usually share about how amazing language learning is and how it has changed my life and how happy I am and why you should also become a polyglot. And I'm always so positive when it comes to language learning. And I never actually shared with you the behind the scene and the truth about what I'm going through as a polyglot and as someone who has been learning languages for almost 15 years now. Today, I finally decided to open up about my story as a polyglot and how I became who I am today and whether or not I regret studying 9 languages. In this video, I'm not going to talk about how amazing language learning is and how it can change your life, blah, blah, because I've already been talking about this for the past couple of years. You can watch the videos if you want to get inspiration and motivation. This video is going to be quite different. This video is going to give you a perspective of what to expect when you decide to step on into this journey and start learning different languages. I'm gonna be honest with you and share everything that I've been going through. It's really hard for me to open up about my personal life and what I've been going through, but I think it's important for you guys to know what to expect. And I don't wanna be the one that pretends to have a perfect life and pretends to be doing everything just right. I want you guys to know that you're not alone on your language learning journey, and it's never supposed to be easy. And even polyglots and those who have been almost successful in their journey have been going through a lot. If it's your first time watching my videos, I would love to explain a little bit about my language learning journey and why I decided to learn 9 languages and how I became who I am today. So when I was 10, I started learning English, and later on I started learning Arabic and French. By the age of 13, I could already speak in 4 languages, including my mother tongue, which is Persian. I didn't want to be a polyglot. I never had the intention of learning these many languages. It was just my parents' suggestion. They wanted me to learn different languages because they thought that in the future these languages will help me find a better job or get into a better university. Just, as any other parent that push their children to do something at a young age, maybe it's sport or art. My parents' choice was language. But later on, as I grew up, I started liking it. For me, I guess language learning was quite addictive. So by the age of 15, I decided to learn Spanish because it was easy for me as someone who could speak French. And later on, I decided to come to China and study Chinese to challenge myself to study the hardest language in the world. Later on, I wanted to learn Turkish, Italian, because I just love to learn. And later on, I started learning Russian. So in total, I've been learning 9 languages for the past 15 years. But then last year, at the age of 23, when I came to China to do my master's, at a certain point, I realized that language learning is giving me a lot of anxiety and mental problems. And that was the time when I was like, I'm just gonna stop it. I cannot continue this journey, and maybe it was a mistake. I was 10 when I decided to learn different languages, and I was only 15 when I decided that I wanted to learn more than 6 languages and become a hyper polyglot. If at that time I knew how hard it would be, probably I would have never started it. When I was 10, I thought, okay, I will study French for 2 years and finish the books that we have at school, and then I'm done with it. Cool, I can speak this language. But that wasn't the case, and until the age of 23, I had to study it, to maintain it, to keep it. Keeping 9 languages alive in your brain requires constant exposure to that language. So I always say that either do not start learning a language, or once you have started learning that language, you should never stop. That's what happened to me last year when I started thinking that if I want to continue this journey, I have to continue it till the day I die. Honestly, otherwise it's just waste of money. I've spent so much money, so much time, so much effort learning languages, and if I don't study it for a couple of months, it's gone. It's gone. I swear it's gone. And do I want to continue this journey? till the end of my life? Am I willing to dedicate my whole life to this, to something that I can forget it in a few months? So for me, learning languages is actually not that easy. I don't think learning languages is difficult. I think the difficult thing is to maintain languages. The second thing is mental overload. Learning different languages and just trying to constantly maintain all these languages can lead to mental overload, exhaustion, can lead to mental overload, stress, and anxiety. That's what happened to me. I was always worried about my languages. I consider my languages as my babies. You know, when you have more than 2 babies, like you have 9 babies, 9 children, how are you going to take care of them? Languages are like your babies. Once you give birth to your baby, you have to keep feeding them, like helping them, taking care of them to grow, right? Once you start learning a new language, you have to keep it up, keep practicing and taking care of that language. So for me, it was such a stressful task to keep all these languages alive while doing other things, such as doing my degree in China in Chinese. I'm doing my master's in Chinese, for your information, in a top university, and also like working full-time, like having my own business, having my own social medias. That's why I made different videos on how I manage doing all these things. Like I said, I wake up at 4 a.m., 5 a.m. So it's never been easy, and it almost gave me like depression just thinking about how am I going to maintain this, because it's something that I've already started. I cannot give up. If I give up, it means all the hard work that I've been putting towards it goes to waste. Like imagine when I was 15 or 14, I used to wake up every day at 4 a.m. studying, doing my homework, going to school at 7, coming back at 1:30, and going straight like from the school to French class. And I used to get like an hour and a half of French lesson, and then I remember the French school was in front of the English school, language institute, so I used to go there, an hour and a half English course, coming back home, and our home was so far from the language school. I used to arrive at around 10. So imagine, like, I was only 14 or 15 and going through such a hard routine. And during the weekends, I don't remember a single weekend that I was sleeping or taking a rest. I used to go to Arabic course from 8 till 12, and then to Spanish course from like 1 till 6. Like imagine. And later on, when I grew up, I got online courses. It got easier, you know, when I was studying online. So when I thought about giving up on language learning, and like when I thought of like just stopping it, I just remembered, I'm gonna cry. I just remembered my 14-year-old self that used to take the bus, and at that time we were broke. I mean, I never took taxi. Like nowadays, because I make my own money, I take taxi frequently, but at that time I never took a taxi to language school. I was always taking the bus 2 hours at least in Tehran's traffic jam. Imagine how terrible it is. Like a 40-year-old girl coming back home at 10 p.m. Like what is that? And whenever I just want to give up on language learning, like I used to remember myself, like my young self, and how passionate I was about life. And it even made my depression worse, because I was like, Maya, you're gonna make your 14-year-old self like disappointed. Like you want to disappoint her. She thought that by this age you'll be perfect in all the languages, and at this age you're gonna give up. What? So I couldn't even give up, because it was something that I've started, and it was really hard. Iran is a closed country. If you don't know, we do not have international schools. We do not have tourists, nothing. So learning different languages in Iran is super hard. That's why I had to travel all over the city, like to the end of like that side of Tehran, to attend like Arabic course, French course, Spanish course, because it wasn't accessible. Like it wasn't everywhere. And I never like, it was until I came to China that I saw a native English speaker, you know? So it was really hard, and I could not disappoint myself. That's why I couldn't stop it. The third point is time consumption. You always think that, okay, I will like learn a language in 1 year, 2 years. No, language never ends. And that's the problem. Not only it's easy to be forgotten, but also you can never say that I've mastered that language. It's impossible. I never said that I can speak all these languages fluently. No, not even my native language, that is Persian. It's time consuming and it never ends. Never ends. It's a never ending procedure. Like any other type of science, that it never ends. Yeah. So no matter how much you study, there are still things that you don't know. Welcome to the language club, everyone. So you will never be satisfied. You will never be happy because there's always something that you don't know. Learning languages is expensive. And I remember my parents like going through a lot just to be able to afford me going to language schools to learn languages. Okay, I want to cry, oh my God. And when I grew up and I made my own money, I started paying for my own classes. And at a certain point, I had to self-study the languages because who is gonna pay for 9 languages? It was really hard for me to pay to learn 9 languages. So I had to keep learning many of them on my own, self-studying it. Self-studying 8 languages was so hard because when you self-study, you have to do the job of 2 people, the student and the teacher. So it's like double the effort, right? But I had no choice. I had to do that because it was too expensive for me to take courses for all of them. Self-studying, especially when I was younger, there were not that many resources like today. So I had to like go through a lot just to find the right resources. And especially some languages like such as Italian or I don't know, Arabic, there are not that many good resources out there. At least at the time, like 10 years ago when I started learning Arabic, there were no such good resources that, unlike some languages like Arabic, like 15 years ago, there were no good resources for that to self-study. So I had to pay for a course. And as I said, like Iran is not an international country, so it was really hard for me to find the right people to practice with and the right resources. When you start learning different languages, obviously the first 2 or 3 languages that you start studying are the practical ones. I don't know, like it's English or it's Spanish, Chinese, the languages that are actually practical. But the more languages you want to learn, the less practical they become, right? So let's say I learned all the 6 languages of the UN that are super practical, super useful, but then I have to go with languages that are less common and less popular and obviously less useful. And you cannot say that all languages that you learn are equally practical. Obviously now I'm living in China, so the possibility of me practicing Chinese or even English is more. When I'm in Turkey, the possibility of me learning and practicing Turkish is more. So not all languages are practical in your area. So there were languages that I haven't practiced since 2015. Like I have never seen like native speakers of those languages in real life. I'm not gonna mention which languages, but okay, no, there is one language that I'm learning that I haven't met any native speaker since 2016. The last native speaker that I saw and I actually spoke to them was 2016. And then I met another native speaker in 2018. She was my classmate and we spoke maybe for a couple of hours. And then in 2022, I met someone and we spoke for 1 day in real life. And then 2 days ago, I met another native speaker. And that was the time when I was actually thinking that you are maybe the 4th or 5th person that I'm talking to in this language in real life. Because where are you guys? Like, I'm not gonna mention the name of the language because I don't want to disappoint you, because then you will realize that this language may not be that useful. But that made me like question it, like why am I learning this language when I haven't met a native speaker since 2016? Like in 2016 I used to meet a lot of them because I was in an environment where I could meet them, but since then I haven't met anyone. And I've been in Turkey, in Iran, I've been to Iraq, and I've been to China, so 4 countries and no native speakers of this language. So not all the languages that you learn are going to be practical when you decide to become a hyper polyglot and learn more than 5 or 6 languages. And that's when you will become disappointed, sad, and you will want to just give up. That's what happened to me. I was like, you know what, I'm not going to learn these languages because some of them, besides Chinese and English, I'm not using them in real life. Where are the native speakers? Where are the opportunities? Because usually when you want to find a job, there are limited amount of things that they ask you to do. For example, they are looking for translator that translates between Chinese, English, and Persian, you know? So even the job opportunities sometimes are limited to certain languages. So you are not going to be able to practice all the languages, even at work. You can be an expert in a couple of those languages, but not in all of them. Because even being expert in one language is hard, let alone being expert in 9 or 10 languages. So if you're a perfectionist like me, you're gonna suffer because becoming an expert or being fluent in all of those languages is impossible, and that will give you a lot of anxiety because you'll always feel like you're not good enough or you're not doing well enough. So this is something that you should keep in mind. The moment you can monetize your languages, or the moment you can actually enjoy the languages that you can speak, is when you are at least in B2 or C1 level. So you will not be happy speaking a language at A2 level. When you tell others that you can speak in X number of languages, they expect you to be perfect in those languages. And they are not even perfect in their own mother tongue, but they expect you to be perfect in like 8 languages. Others may overestimate your abilities or rely on you in ways that are overwhelming. And this will create unnecessary pressure on you and literally stress you out every time you're around people. Especially when making mistakes around people, it gives you just a lot of unnecessary pressure and stress. Especially when you are being examined by a child. A child cannot randomly come to you and ask you an engineering question or a medical question. But a child can easily come to you and ask you, oh, what that word means in Russian, what that word means in Spanish. And then maybe that's the most random word that you have never thought about. And then you're like, oh, what? Let me think. Thankfully, I've been always honest about my language learning skills and levels on my social media platforms. And I've always told my followers that these are my levels in different languages, and I even shared live streams, and I even shared videos of me speaking in different languages, so people know what to expect from me when I say that I speak 8 languages. They know my levels in different languages because I've been sharing all these videos with you. So that's why I've never experienced such things. So I didn't really experience such embarrassing moments, but I know many polyglots that have been going through a lot, just being embarrassed in public for like a child randomly asking them a random word. If you're an artist or a doctor or an engineer, you can never be tested on a random Tuesday. But if you are a polyglot, you can be tested anywhere and at any time, and your whole reputation will be destroyed only by one simple question. No matter how well you speak that language, of course there's so many words that we don't know, or maybe at that time we got anxious or nervous and we just couldn't remember that word, but then people judge you based on that. Another reason that I was quite sad about it was AI taking over our jobs. So I will make a separate video about that if you want. Let me know in the comments down below on my opinions on how AI will ruin the career of translators and language teachers. So sad, but yeah, that was another reason why I was like, you know what, I'm just not gonna study languages anymore, because AI will get over it, and later on with the chip that Elon Musk is gonna build and put it in our brain, everyone else will be able to speak languages, so why should I even bother? But let me know if you want me to make a video on my opinion about AI and language learning. So yeah. And last but not least, mixing up the languages. When you speak different languages, you will mix up everything. This is also like a really difficult part of this journey. Everyone thinks that my biggest challenge with languages is mixing them up, but I have a really good technique, so that's not a huge problem for me. I mean, I do mix them up a lot, especially French, Spanish, and Italian, but I don't think that that's the biggest problem that I have with language learning. Still, the biggest thing that I have with it is maintaining all of them and managing my time in a way that I can keep them all alive, keep all the children alive, and not making them pass out and not making my children die. So my friends, I'm gonna end this video in here. And thank you so much for watching this video until now. It was such a long video of me just putting everything that I've been keeping in here for 15 years out. It was just my honest opinion on multilingualism and language learning. But last but not least, I'm just gonna answer one question. Do I regret? And if I go back to 15 years ago, I'm so old. Yeah, to 14 years ago when I was 10. I'm 24 by the way now. If I go back and if I'm 10 again, would I still choose to learn 9 languages or not? This is a question that I ask. Okay, and here gets the exciting part. Do I regret learning 9 languages, and will I continue learning 9 languages? And if I go back, if I'm 10 years old again, would I still want to be a polyglot or not? Let's answer this question, and then I will just end this video because I talked too much. So as I said last year, I decided that I want to stop learning languages, and I did actually stop learning languages and studying for 1 year. Till a few weeks ago, I was like, I'm not gonna study languages anymore. I'm good with what I know right now. Like, my Chinese is already good, my English is already good. You know, I'm good. I'm just not gonna study anymore. I realized that those languages were the reason why I am who I am today. And without those languages, I wouldn't have had all these opportunities that I have right now. Right now, I'm on a full scholarship, getting paid every month in China. I have you guys, like a huge social media, not followers. I mean, I don't have a huge followers, but I have a huge audience that trusts in me. And that's even more precious than having a lot of followers. I have you guys, I have my businesses that I'm doing. So I don't think that those things would have been possible without me learning different languages and without me speaking all of these languages. And the friends that I made, everything that I have. I come from a really simple family, from a closed community, from a closed country, from Iran. So languages were the key to my success. I mean, even though I don't really call myself a successful person, but whatever I have right now are because of the languages that I can speak. So that's why after around a year of taking a break from language learning, I was like, I'm not gonna disappoint my 14-year-old self that was studying every day, coming back home at 10. She used to think that by this age I will be like an amazing person who can speak in different languages. So that's why I decided to like start everything again and to not give up. I think I needed that 1 year of rest because honestly I was exhausted. I couldn't handle it anymore. But I'm back, and for the next video I think I'm gonna share my new language learning plan, like how I plan my life to be able to learn all these languages along with my degree and my job. So subscribe if you haven't subscribed until now. And so if I go back, I will still become a polyglot, and no, I don't regret, because yeah, that's why I am who I am today. Knowledge is power, and someone who doesn't have knowledge has no power. So Languages are a great tool, a great power to have, and I'm really thankful for it. So I really don't want this video to disappoint you, because still, with all the things that I mentioned and how crazy of a journey and crazy of a roller coaster it was for me to learn these languages, still I believe that it was the best thing that ever happened to me. The joy of being able to speak to people in their own mother tongue is something that I cannot explain. So it's definitely worth the pain, because no pain, no gain. Thank you so much for watching this video. I talked too much. Oh my god, I just put everything out to the world, and now the whole world knows my weakness and there are things that I've gone through. Everyone used to think that I'm smart, that I'm perfect, that I can speak in different languages, and that like I have such a flawless and amazing life. But now you know that it wasn't the case, and I'm happy that I have the courage to share behind the scene of my life, because I don't want to sound like I'm the most amazing person. Because I don't want to sound like I'm doing great and you are not. Never. So I hope that you guys like this video, and I hope this video helped you in a certain way. And if you haven't started learning a language, I think this video can be helpful for you to know what to expect. And if you are already struggling with language learning, I think this video can show you that you are not alone on this journey, and every polyglot is going through the same thing. So send me more energy to go and study. Sorry that I wasn't really speaking loud in this video, because I'm in a public area, so I cannot really shout, and I don't have a microphone. So yeah, that's it. Just give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel, and thank you so much for watching this video till now. If you have watched it till the end, please comment something like I love language learning. Yeah, comment it down below so that I know that you have watched it till the end. Thank you, and have a great journey, language learning journey. See you.